What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So the 2024 NHL Draft Lottery literally just happened like 30 minutes ago. Shout out everybody that was in my live reacting to it. And there wasn't that much to react to, considering the draft order is the exact same as the draft odds order. When looking at it, the San Jose Sharks 1, Chicago, Anaheim, Columbus, Montreal. You know the drill. Not a ton of movement, but if you're a San Jose Sharks fan, you need to be absolutely elated. So I wanted to look at what these results could bring in terms of San Jose, Chicago, and Anaheim. Why I think the draft order, the draft odds are kind of busted. I definitely want to break into that, what I would do to change it. And I kind of want to run through maybe a little bit of a mini mock draft. We go through, I'll do this at the end, and say what players I think will be targeted within certain ranges based on team needs. So starting off with the San Jose Sharks, man. You got to be elated. This was a bad season. This was a horrible season. They fully committed to the tank, and it ended up working out. And when you look at the San Jose Sharks since last year's deadline, since the Timo Meier trade, it has been fantastic for Mike Grier. Meier for Zetterlund, who was great for them last year. Shakir, 2023 first and a 2024 second that they have this year. Then they used that 2023 first to draft Musty as well as Will Smith, who looks great. They trade Carlson for a 2024 draft, which, by the way, Pittsburgh didn't jump this year, so they're going to get that 2024 draft. It's going to be 14th overall, as well as Mikael Granlund, who was fantastic this year. Maybe they can somehow finagle a trade revolving him, considering they don't have a retention spot. It's going to be tough. Then they trade Hurdle, which was a little bit of a head scratcher in the moment, but they got a 2023 first in David Enstrom, as well as a 2025 first, which could be decently high. They signed Colin Graff, and then they finally get the ping pong balls to fall in their direction. I said it when talking about the Sharks. One of these years, whether it's 2024, 2025, 2026, they definitely need to be picking at least second overall, or they need to hit on either Celebrini, Hagens, or McKenna. They got Celebrini. They got their franchise guy. I thought Will Smith maybe could have turned into that, but I kind of know with Mac and Celebrini winning the Hobey Baker as a freshman, putting up some of the best college stats ever by a 17-year-old. Mind you, he was 17 all year. He's a goddamn June birthday. He was very young for his age, and he was so dominant. He is going to be this franchise center. And I think the San Jose Sharks from 14 months ago, when they still had the Carlson deal, the Hurdle deal was horrible, Vlasic's deal still horrible, but they were kind of stuck in this just bad situation with bad contracts. What Mike Grier has been able to do over the last 14 months has been a masterclass in general managering. I don't know if that's a word, but he has been fantastic. And now going forward, they have arguably the best 1-2 young center duo in the entire NHL. They're going to have to hit on that 14th overall pick. They're going to have to hit on most of their picks. They're going to have to eventually get a franchise number one defenseman. But obviously with this year's draft, you go. Also, they have William Eklund, who I forgot to mention, but you go with Macklin Celebrini. You worry about a defenseman in 2025 or 2026. They are in a fantastic spot. Now, when looking at the Chicago Blackhawks, definitely would have been nice to pick up a Macklin Celebrini, but not a must by any stretch. They got their franchise guy in 2023. I think that they're probably going to go Ivan Demidov. I think he is the second most talented player in this draft by a decent margin. I think you make an argument that the gap between Celebrini and Demidov is bigger than the gap between the guy at third and the guy in Demidov at second. So I think they're still getting a very, very good player. He's not a surefire thing like a Macklin Celebrini, but still high-end player. And even if you're Anaheim, I don't think that you really would have liked to obviously jump up, but getting another third overall pick, maybe you go defenseman. You're going to have the pick of your litter most likely at defenseman, unless Chicago goes defenseman. It's going to be very interesting. Now, in looking at the overall draft lottery system, before I dive into those other picks where I think teams might go, I think that this system is pretty garbage. I think the changes outside of the jumping up 10 spots that they made back in 2022 or 2023 is bad. When looking at it, I tweeted this out this morning, which I got some backlash. I said the NHL draft should be more like the NBA, allowing the worst teams to fall all the way to 5th overall. If you know how the NBA works, you only have a 14% chance at 1st overall. If you're the worst team, you can fall all the way to 5th. They should have lower 1st overall odds, and it proved true this year. It incentivizes tanking. This year, nobody moved, and even last year, Chicago moved from 3rd to 1st overall. That was the only movement. I don't like this system when looking at it. The fact that the worst team in the NHL is a guaranteed top 3 pick. They have a 45% chance at a top 2 pick. The second worst team has a guaranteed top 4 pick, like a 60% chance at a top 3 pick. We need to stop incentivizing tanking even further. Yes, should the worst teams have better odds? 1,000%, but the Sharks should only have like a 14 to 17, maybe even 18% chance at the 1st overall pick, and then they should definitely be able to fall to 4th overall. That used to be the old system. They should definitely be able to fall to fourth overall. I hate how it's a guaranteed top 3 pick. It is absolute crap. I would have it be able to go all the way to fifth overall, because when looking at it, if you can't get an elite player at fourth or fifth overall, your franchise is just a disaster. I'm not asking too much for you to still select high-end players at fourth and fifth overall. The system is boring. The draft lottery the last 2 years has been extremely boring, with basically nobody jumping up. We need to have some kind of changes. I love what they did with the you can only jump 10 spots. I love the idea that when the Rangers lost in the play-ins and then got Lafreniere, thankfully Lafreniere, although a good player, didn't really become the superstar we expected. I like that change. I like that if you just barely miss the playoffs, you can't potentially get another franchise player. But the fact that now with those changes, making that rule and then only making it better for the bottom 3 teams, and especially the worst team in the entire NHL, utter garbage in my opinion, and that 1000% needs to be changed going forward. Now, in looking at the rest of this order, obviously San Jose, pencil in Macklin, Celebrini. I would say I'm going to do a more in-depth mock draft in the coming days. Chicago, I think you're looking at Demidov. Anaheim, Leshinov, or maybe Caden Lindstrom could be a good fit, get another big body. Columbus, I think you probably target forward, considering you already have Jiricek and Matechuk as your future top 2 defensemen. Montreal, I'd go forward as well. Utah, defenseman, I'd probably go defenseman. I could see them usually taking Anton Siliev after he took Dmitry Simashev last year. Ottawa, definitely defenseman. I think Zane Perrick would be a great fit in Ottawa. Seattle, doesn't really matter. I think you just go best player available. Actually, no, you probably go defense. I think they have a lot of good young forwards with guys like Carson Raykoff, Furcus, Beniers, right? You go defense. Calgary, defense probably, but I think that they're still at a stage where whoever they take is probably their best prospect going forward. So you just go best player available. New Jersey, best player available. Luke Hughes, Simone Nemitz, and then you have a fantastic young forward core. Buffalo, after trading for Byram, it gets tough. I would have said defense. I think I'm still going to say defense just because you have so many goddamn young forwards. It's insane. Philadelphia, best player available. No doubt in my mind. They only really have Michkov in terms of elite high-end guys. Minnesota, most likely defense if one of those top 5 guys fall outside of it. San Jose, if there's still an elite defenseman there, maybe you take a defenseman, but if not, best player available. I think most of the elite defensemen are going to be gone by 14th, so don't force a pick. Don't force a pick into those that second tier of defensemen. I'm steam running through this. I've been having too many energy drinks. Detroit, best player available, but probably forward. They have ASP, they have Edvinsson, they have Seider. Best player available is probably going to be a forward there, so you just go forward. And then St. Louis, best, if there's still an elite defenseman, you go defenseman, but probably best player available. So yeah, I think when looking at it, boring draft lottery for sure, but if you're San Jose, you need to be through the moon. I'm just happy that the Chicago Blackhawks did not win this draft lottery. People would have had an uprising if they did. I wanted New Jersey to win. I thought that would have been really funny, but there needs to be changes to the draft lottery, and we need to have more chaos in the draft lottery. We need to decentivize tanking in the draft lottery. I think that goes without saying. But overall, it's going to be a very interesting draft. I think after second overall, it's about as open as I can remember from a 3rd through 10th overall. You can make arguments for 8 to 9. No, for 3rd overall, you can make an argument for 6 or 7 guys to go 3rd overall, and I would 1000% hear you out. I can't remember the last time that was the case. But yeah, let me know in the comments. What do you think about this? How would you change the draft lottery to maybe have more action? I don't like the way it's set up right now. Is Celebrini a genuine notch below generational? How good do you think that he's going to be? Who should go second? Who should go third? Who should go fourth? Who should go fifth? I'm going to go watch the Rangers versus Canes game. I'll be seeing the next one.